Hey Ves, how's it going, brother?
Very good.
So we have a special day to go over a few Seikos here that we got thanks to Ves, and basically Ves hooked us up. He knows some people over there at Seiko, and right now we have three iconic. I think iconic because one is based on the turtle, the 6901. Correct me if I'm wrong on that number. The one from Apocalypse Now. But this is a limited, not a limited, but a special edition Patty version. He also has the Tuna, and also we have the iconic Seiko SKX007. Yeah. So where are we at, Ves? Where are we here? I mean, we're in a cool spot.
Lake Tahoe, about what, 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Nice,
Yeah.
chilly, crisp.
There's no
Smells
snow.
good, pine.
It's the beginning of January, and I want to start off the new year right. We're doing a little vlog on our little hobby here, our addiction, our sickness, and luckily for us, this is not an addiction, but it's definitely a pleasure that we like to partake in. This is what we're taking in right now is a Corsair small batch American whiskey, and oh, it's good stuff, man. Smell that, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The nose is very floral, and like whiskeys, it's right in your face, right in front. You got the sweetness, you got the vanilla, and then you got some chocolate.
Good.
Oh, it's thick. Oh yeah. And then later on, you have you have the peat, a little bit of the smoke, the long finish. This is the real deal, and American whiskeys have gone a long way. A lot of distilleries have gone a long way in America. It's not a whiskey per se, like a whiskey from Scotland, not like a Scotch, but they have their own little flavor to it. So, as far as American whiskeys go, I mean, you got to give Corsair small batch a try. They're not paying me for anything, but I tried it. I was over there. I said, hey, I was about to get Nika coffee grain, but I saw this next to it, and I said, all right, going around the world, going Scotland, going Japan, I'm coming back to America, and this is what I'm taking in for American whiskey. Anyway, that's that. What are you taking in?
That's got Liberty IPA.
Now, this is some local stuff.
Locals, yeah.
We're in Northern California right now, so we're taking it all in. All right, back to the watches. So yeah, man. So yeah, tell me about how you are able to acquire these two pieces here.
Oh yeah, so I work for Seiko.
Oh, sweet.
And at the end of the year, we usually get a little discount on some of the watches. So I was able to snag up this Tuna over here, and I was able to get Judd, the turtle.
The turtle, Tuna, and the turtle.
Tuna and turtle.
Yeah. A little sea action here, and you got the 007 there in a beautiful
NATO strap.
NATO. This is a toxic NATO strap. And I'll tell you more about that strap. So we're gonna cut, and we're gonna go close up view, and then we're gonna talk about the watches. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has that ergonomic shape to it. It being such a big watch, I mean, okay, let's put it on my 6 3/4 inch wrist here, and already I could just feel it hugging. Look how it just hugs the wrist right there.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, and it just hugs it. Yeah, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna go ahead and strap it in. Yeah, and look how, okay, me being a 6 3/4 inch wrist, I mean, I don't have a lot of room here. This is as far as it'll go, and I still have a little bit of play right here. So I would say, yeah, this is at the limit of what I would wear.
Yep.
So for vests, actually, it works perfect for him. Now, I wouldn't let that be a deterrent because, man, the case is so comfortable on that wrist. I mean, it stays put, and it wraps right around. This flying around like that with my 6 3/4 just doesn't really lend itself to it being the ideal strap for me. I mean, but I would switch it out to maybe an isofrane. You know, blue. They actually have blue isofranes that you can, which is a dive strap, and you got it on Vest's wrist. Now he has a 7 1/4 inch wrist. 7.5 actually. 7.5. I'm sorry. Yeah. So comparing it on Vest's 7.5 inch wrist, so it looks really good, and the keeper is nice and tucked away.
Fits right.
And it's flushed right into the skin. So my watches have a tendency to come off onto the side like this, and for that reason, that curved case dimension here just keeps it visible and doesn't let it roll out of sight. I had a tendency to have all my watches move that way, and this one it was no exception here as I was trying it on. So yeah, these are some great timepieces. Beautiful ceramic case on that, man. Look at that. It's this matte ceramic shroud, and the blues. There's 3 different, including the strap. There's 4 different blues that you can just get lost in. Number 1, the dial has that matte kind of radial. I mean, we're outside, and that radial finish is just so subtle. And compared to the radial finish with the with this SRP, it's a lot more subtle than that. Not a lot, but it seems like a more matte finish, almost like I don't know how do you compare it, but have you seen Mystique's blue in X-Men? It's like a special blue, and I would say it's very similar to that. It has that shimmer, but it's not too I guess Orient watch blue, where it's just so bright and so radial bright, where it just flashes right back at you. Now this one's just a tad more, I think. And then on top of that, you got that more. I mean, this cobalt blue. This the bezel. Sorry, the bezel is this
Transformer blue.
Yeah, and it's just cobalt blue, and I love that blue, man. It's just such a nice, deep, just this gunmetal blue that sometimes looks black in some lights, right?
Yeah, depending on the lighting, it does look black.
Yeah.
To like a dark blue.
And it's like a bridge to the shroud. The shroud is this matte blue that, you know, I mean, it looks like a tank. It looks like a water tank, like a tank in a water. I don't know, maybe you. So this one here, just because the band, the rubber strap, I can't wear this, I think, because this would bug the hell out of me right here. I wouldn't cut it because it has that nice little logo in the back. It has a little has a tsunami. I just gotta switch it out. I'll switch it out to an isofrane. I would. But this looks like. It's pretty big. I mean, but still, you know, for those guys who like that wrist presence and that in your face look, then yeah, this is the watch for you. But I like it. Nah, it's it's just something to rotate around with, you know. I mean, it's a different look. I normally like a more subdued look. I normally would go for the more I guess 40 millimeter look. But you know, I would wear this as much as I would wear a big chunky G-Shock. You know, and this definitely has that feel that you can take this anywhere. You know, let's go put it on your wrist, and how it looked like on a wrist that it would actually fit. Yeah. So here we got the keeper in the right place. Here we are with the keeper in the right place and a 7.5-inch wrist. I think it's perfect, man.
Yeah.
That looks really good. Comfortable, and it doesn't hang
Push
over the
up.
side. Yeah, you could do push-up. It passes the push-up test, right? Just like how the SRP-81 does. But you can also see, like on the bottom there, the SRP-81 right there. You see how how it reflects the light with the matte finish. Looks good. Looks good. Looks really good, my man. Yeah.
So I have a 7.5
Yeah.
inch wrist.
Yeah. So here's a vest on his 7.5-inch wrist, and he got that Seiko 007. And do you mind rotating the bezel here? Yeah. So unidirectional rotational bezel, and just looking at the case dimensions on that, and then looking at the SRP A21 special edition here. You have two wrists here. Mine is a 6 3/4-inch wrist, yet because it is shorter lug to lug, it does fit rather well. You don't want a watch that hangs over the side of the wrist. A lot of wrist presence because it's nice and wide, and then with Vess's 007 over here, he definitely has a larger wrist, and then yet it still has some really good wrist presence here because even though the case is narrow, it looks as if it's still not too ostentatious or way too big like most watches. I mean, he could pull off some really large timepieces, yet the 007 can really pull its weight and have bigger wrists. This is I would say a little above average size wrist.
Yeah.
Mine a little less so. So you can see it doesn't hang over the edge of the wrist there. So yeah. So basically here we have maybe I can go ahead and show them something here. And comparing the two watches here, we're gonna go ahead and take them off. So a couple things that we notice here when you look at the dial and you look at the depth of the dial. Both of them have very beautiful depth here, and when you decide on getting an iconic Seiko, it's either this or this, right? The SKX007 or the Turtle. Some might argue that the Turtle is the next generation or the next iteration of the iconic dive watch from entry-level iconic dive watch from Seiko. But I would suffice to say that the SKX007 holds its own when you decide on getting that first and foremost. I love how the case is, beautifully polished on the side here, and in the front, on the top, it's brushed. Another thing you want to look at also here, the difference is this: when you look at the crystal, you can actually see a bevel there, and you can see the reflection of the indices here on that beveled crystal. So you can see that the crystal there is raised a little bit, and to me that makes a huge difference versus, say, the SRP A81. You don't really see that raised bezel there. You don't see the facet or the raised crystal. It definitely makes up for it in the the case and the beautiful dial here, and but that raised crystal definitely adds to the look. And it also, this ties in really well with the polished sides. You can see the polished sides right here, just hinting and peeking itself out in front of out on front close to the crown. Now obviously this comes with a robust 7 series movement from Seiko, and this is the 4R series movement here for Seiko, where it has this beautiful stopping seconds, and then that wonderful smooth winding action. Now you don't get that with the 007, obviously, but what I did notice too is like that when you pull out the crown and you tend to want to wind it, there is really no stiction. Sometimes if you don't thread it right, there's going to be some stiction, and that's disconcerting to me. I definitely want to feel it smoothly go in and out. So those things that you want to watch out for. Sometimes if you don't thread it properly, you might screw up the threads. I definitely feel that. I don't see it happening, but the weird thing is that it was doing that for a little bit. But as I played with it a little bit, it kind of smoothed itself out, thinking that might be some little dust particle in there that was kind of grinding out at the threads there. So Vess is actually learning a lot, right?
Yeah.
Am I making some sense here? Do I notice
so,
that?
yeah.
Have you noticed that crystal there? The crystal, the two crystals?
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I didn't realize it before, but definitely I see the difference.
Yeah,
now.
you see the difference, right? Looking at the bezels, definitely the same size. However, the turtle looks a lot bigger because of the case sides. What I like about the case sides, it really shows off that matte finish, that brushed finish, where this has that shimmer of the polished sides. The polishing only goes down right here underneath. What I like about that is this push-up test. When you do push-ups, normally when you break at the wrist, this actually conforms to that shape. And I could do push-ups all day with that, right?
Right.
How about you? Well, this one too definitely has it too. I mean, it's definitely has that boat look to it, where the case right here kind of just cradles the front of the watch. Right. Also, is that both watches have a very brushed. This one comes in a Jubilee, and it's very bright and very blingy, right? Usually it came with that blue Jubilee.
Actually, I bought the Jubilee. It came with a plastic
strap.
strap.
Oh, the plastic strap, yeah. So you actually got the blue Jubilee with it. Of course, you got to get the Jubilee with this watch.
It makes it look nice and classic and go with everything.
And it definitely has a lot of wrist pop on that, man. The Jubilee has some definite shimmer to it. You know, so it's definitely noticeable when you're getting a watch like this. So
the black strap that comes with it is kind of uncomfortable to wear on a daily basis.
Right.
The Jubilee seems very nice.
Right. So the black strap on this one, definitely has a resin, kind of more plasticky and not as hard, right? Right. And we'll talk about that with our next watch. We also have another watch. It's called the Turtle to kind of show you guys here. So this is the Turtle right here. So he was talking about Tuna. Yeah, this is the Tuna, and we got and comparing the two here. The Tuna, the strap is so soft.
Yeah, it's. The one that comes with SKA, I think it's like a plastic
strap.
This one's like a silicone strap.
Yeah.
It's super soft.
Right.
It's very comfortable to wear, so I didn't have to change out the strap at all.
Yeah.
And when you wear it, even though the case size is big, I think it's like a 48 millimeter, it conforms to the wrist really nicely if you look on that side and how it, from lug to lug, there's no extra room, you'd say.
Yeah.
It just conforms right over the wrist.
Right over the wrist, right? And this one just bends properly.
Yeah.
And because it's so big, it kind of ties in with the anatomical curve for the circumference of a wrist. I have a very flat top of the wrist, but my watch has a tendency to slide off to the side right here. And I see how this can kind of cradle itself or just kind of sit on the top edge of maybe, say you have a round wrist, right? You have a 1 o'clock position on the wrist, but the top of my wrist is flat. So here, okay, going back to the Tuna.
The Tuna, the SRPA83.
SRPA83. Here's what I was talking about. I'm talking about the quality crystal here. This Hesselite. I think it's not Hesselite. I'm sorry. It's a mineral crystal. It's not sapphire.
No.
No.
I think it's Seiko's
mineral crystal, right?
Helix or something like that. Helix crystal.
But it makes up for it with the ceramic sides.
The casing, yeah.
So here's that crystal cup coming up again, where you have that faceted look, and it reflects on the indices and plays with the light even more so. Yeah. Just like the old SKX007. Now this has also the hacking and hand winding movement, and the difference is this. Okay, when you're looking at going intermediate,
And I would say this is closer to the intermediate because it's just their prospects models. These two are the prospect models, which double the price of this one. But let me tell you what you're spending at. This has this really beautiful feel, but it is kind of mush a little bit. No, but it is still a good feel. It's just like there's a little bit of play, a little bit of give, and it is kind of mushy. Same with this guy right here. It's for some reason this is a little bit more sticky, and then you got this one here, and it's buttery. But there is a little bit of mush, but it definitely feels like it's a little bit more buttery and smooth. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to explain that. They all have different feels though.
Yeah.
But
it's very precise.
Yeah.
Like it stays in that
and then there's not a lot of play on
no
this
play
guy.
on there.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, here it is. Here's the SRP 8-1 turtle on 6 3/4 inch wrist. Yeah. And here it is in a 7 1/2 inch wrist. Not much of a difference, huh? Your wrist is round. Mine is flat. Seems that's why,
true.
Yeah. Looks good, Vess. Yeah. Okay, ready.
It's cool. You can adjust the temperature.
So looking at, this is the back here. So looking at the tsunami in the back, I like how the SRP has a brush side there, and then the stamp is very raised. Stamp tsunami, special edition. Now this is not a limited edition; it's a special edition, and especially because of the patty, the patty collaboration, right? Then you have your the back of the 007 here, and you'll notice that it's not as detailed. The attention to detail on this, I mean, goes to show that this has actually laser etched markings. This one looks like it was engraved in there. And obviously not the two different tones in the back. So the back definitely paid more attention on the back here. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I messed up. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah. All right. So and then I'll cut.
And the back is completely different.
Yeah. Now here's this back here, the concave in here. Now look at that. I mean, you could eat cereal on that bowl. I could feed my cat, put some water in there, and he won't. He'll love that. He'll quench his thirst. Now the laser etched, but it doesn't have the two different finishing. Not that you look at the back, but it being your watch, you're gonna notice everything. But this is the bowl. I mean, they really scooped it out of there, screwed down case back. So yeah, and you can tell here that looks like a really open here. Look at that crown. Look at that. How the crown doesn't have the crown. It doesn't have the coin edged crown here. This has a more aggressive gear type crown, and I love how these bolts, Allen wrench bolts, just stick out like Frankenstein. It's just tactical, man. Yeah. It has that tactical military look to it, and just this transformer look to it, right?
Yeah.
Just a really cool everyday watch you can wear with what we're wearing right now.
Especially outdoors.
Outdoorsy.
On the weekend,
Yeah.
Outdoorsy.
Yeah. I love how the shroud you could take off, and sometimes you can change. Yeah.
Different colors.
Yeah. What a nice piece here. I definitely want to demonstrate the differences in size. When you are used to wearing this, this definitely feels smaller.
Oh,
Yeah, it definitely feels smaller. You know what I mean? Just that little bit of width there just changes the whole overall feel. Yeah, try that on and tell me how you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, see, it covers the same amount
Yeah.
as the Tuna does cover.
Right.
Because of the case size. So it still feels very comfortable on the wrist. I mean, right now it's a little tight just because
Yeah.
of our wrist size.
Yep.
But the presence of the wristwatch is the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely has a similar wrist presence because
similar.
of the more matte features versus the polished features on the SKX 007. Matte being the outside of the case where you don't see the polished edges as prominently as the SKX. So you can see that polished sides of the case there. And can you turn it to the side, the angle here, the back, the same angles here? Now, when you're looking at it from this view, they look very similar, but turn it towards this way, you can see what I'm talking about here. You can see how the matte finish is more prominent on the SRP 821, and this one you can see that the polished. So let's go turn it this way. The polished sides kind of come out a little bit more here. So I like how that frames the dial really well. Hence the name Turtle, because like that big turtle shell in the bottom there. And this one, it just highlights, the dial is more highlighted. So that being said, it kind of has that look that is a little smaller because it kind of shrinks the bezel because of the framing of the case. This one highlights the bezel. Okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and this one's just big.
Right, that one is big.
But it just fits well.
comfortable.
It's just comfortable and it just fits really well. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Man, that's a nice piece there. So talking about the brushing of the steel, it has this iridescent kind of brushing to it, and just has this matte look, and it doesn't flash the light right at you. Whereas you have this, and then this will reflect light and really be noticeable. But I see this kind of washes away in this matte finish of the all this metal. That's why I wouldn't change it just yet. I'm really in this honeymoon period with the strap and all, you know. So. Okay, upon further study of the case, what I like about this one too, it has little indentations here that you could dig your finger in there and then slide the crown out. And comparing it to, say, the 007, it's not very easy to dig your fingers in there and then move around the crown. Not that you'd always take it out and only when you switch the time, but because we do the Seiko flick, whatever, the Seiko, I don't know what you call it, but comment down below to tell me what that's called, the Seiko shuffle, where you wind it that way. You don't need to take it out of your wrist, or you don't need to wind it. So I like how this has this little indentation that you put your fingers in there and just kind of wind and work with here. And it is a very satisfying wind. And Seiko, with its movement, the 4 series movement, has that really nice buzzy feel to it, ratchet feel to it. When you're winding, you could hear that. I don't know. Here, I'll put it next to the mic, and you could probably hear that. It's a nice buzz to it, right? So you got that buzzy ratchet feel to it, and it finds like I said earlier, it finds you got to be careful when you're finding the threads that you don't strip the threads. It feels like it would strip if there were dust particles embedded in there. It's just not a good grindy feeling when you're doing that. But it doesn't have that now. It kind of went away on me, thank goodness. This one too has that nice little area there where you're opening it up, and you could just feel that beautiful crown, geared crown come out, and that actually makes a big difference here, that you could have real estate here, and the shroud actually gives you a little bit of real estate to access the crown and unwind. And also it has a little opening here while you're accessing the crown. Yeah, that's one of the things that you look for in these dive watches here. Screw down case back and screw down crown, and these have them, and and you can tell, you can just really make sure that it's stuck in there pretty good. Yeah. The details on this watch is amazing. When you look at the stepped dial, you can really see the attention to detail with those little steps and indentations here between the indices. They went that extra mile to add a little bit of cladding cladding to it, you know, inside the dial, not just outside, with these rivets here and these handle holds here. I don't know. I mean, it looks like they have these little scalloped edges there. It's just a really cool design where they have these little details that you just find and you appreciate. These little gears that you see for a good grasp of the bezel, and it's scalloped in there where you can just kind of dig your finger in there, and just that satisfying turn of the bezel feels really good. So yeah, ooh, you know what we forgot? The Lume shots. Dang. You know what?
Do it later.
Yeah, I'll do it later. Cool. So here we have the Lume here, and it's on fire. You can see how the SRP with the beveled crystal, it reflects the luminant off the crystal. Same with the 007. Not so much with the SRP A21 because you don't have that that facet on the bezel on the crystal. But you can see that the Tuna actually has, it's been a couple minutes now. You can see it kind of fading, the 007, and then the SRP A21, it's fading. But the Tuna is still lit like a torch. Pretty cool. Seiko does a good job with the luminant. Well, that wraps up this edition of Whiskey and Watches, Seiko edition here in Tahoe. Thanks for hanging out with me and Vess, talking about our two little hobbies here, whiskey and watches. More about watches, but hopefully you can hang out with us next time, and hit the like and subscribe button. We do this for fun, and it's a blast. Thanks again for hanging out. Peace.